on YouTube. So the inspiration for this session, this is where I was, is thanks to my husband, because last week he was reading the Times. I don't have the subscription, but it came something about mindfulness, and he said, you might want to read this. I don't know if some of you read the Times, but it was very nice. It was an interview they did to Mark Williams and Danny Penman. So Danny Penman developed the course called Mindfulness for Health, the one that Sue and I got the accreditation, and the one we are going to start teaching next week. And Mark Williams is a psychologist, and he developed another mindfulness protocol to prevent depression relapse. And they are like very well known in the UK for what they do and the research they do. They're amazing. And they were talking about pain. And so I'm going to read just a little bit of the interview because it made a lot of sense to me and to Sue when we were discussing this. And they said, turns out that mindfulness can alleviate pain because of how the brain works. And then they said, if you are in chronic pain, your mind knows what to expect from the pain. So it doesn't actually have to pay attention to the incoming data from the injury. It just essentially recreates the pain in your mind. It just essentially recreates the pain in your mind. The actual pain varies moment to moment. But because the brain is running a simulation, you only ever experience the peak pain. When you start to pay attention to it, you notice the peaks and the troughs, peaks and troughs. And it makes it easier to live with. The pain you experience is absolutely real. So he added very sweet, I don't want to downplay the pain, but this is a behavior they have done lots of research on, the pattern of the mind that simulates saying, oh, I know this and I know what is coming. And that it only pays attention to the peaks, forgetting about the rest of the experience. And if you have noticed from the very beginning when we did body scan, most of you have done any mindfulness course. Many of you are teachers here. Fiona is also a teacher. So when we start paying detailed attention to sensations, we realize that they are changing from moment to moment. They have the nuances, they move in the body. And this is something that we only notice when we are paying attention with this openness and curiosity and exploration, and something that Sue and I always say, like with that playful attitude. What is happening there? Where is it going? Is it the same that it was a second ago? Can I feel it differently now? What is it like? Asking, inquiring, noticing. So this was very beautiful when I read this, because if we are not in pain, we can also think of all the inputs we may have, and we just simulate the whole picture. Someone says something I don't like, perhaps my husband, my child, and then I said, oh, I know what is coming, because the mind thinks that it knows everything. And then we start relating to reality from a simulation input or simulated input instead of what is going on in the actual moment. So then they added intense sensations, that most people don't experience pain as purely intense sensations from the body. Rather, it's an amalgam, how do you pronounce that? Like a mixture of intense sensations plus thoughts about it, like, I can't stand it. How long is this going to go on? And things like that. And then emotions like frustration, helplessness. So it becomes something solid, a globe, they call it. But mindfulness allows us to step back. Oh, that's a thought, that's an emotion, and that's an intense sensation. And that sensation is perhaps changing, is perhaps having a different tone and that I hadn't seen before. So this is when we start like, what would be the word for this? Let me see if they use a word. Dismantle the whole experience. And it becomes very rich to explore pain, and I would say any reality, with this approach that is mindfulness. So this is also a reminder that mindfulness is not a philosophy, it's not a technique, it's just a practice with curiosity, and we start looking at. So today, any questions so far? I'm curious if anyone's got a question or comment before we start meditating. Okay, we will have time at the end again, so we can open up our mics and share. So what we're going to do today, inspired by this interview, we don't necessarily need to explore with pain today. We don't have to dive into the swimming pool and just drown ourselves in the pain today. That's not necessary. The invitation is going to explore with sensations, perhaps pleasant sensations or neutral sensations, and start exploring that changing nature of sensations, how they change, how they move, with curiosity. That's what we're going to do today. Before, maybe afterwards, in other sessions, we can approach pain. But if pain is there, we will have space to hold the pain as well. So it's part of the experience. It's fine. Okay? So just allowing yourself to be very comfortable, and as best you can, forgetting all these things that I've just said. It was just an inspiration, but it's gone already, past, gone. And perhaps moving your shoulders back and down and relaxing a little bit, making yourself as comfortable as you can. I can see some people already closing your eyes, which is fine, and moving the neck. I like that. Like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And that's allowing me to remember that I'm here. And perhaps starting by congratulating yourself for making space in a bank holiday for most of us. In a sunny bank holiday, we could be doing many other things, but we decided to be here for us, to meet that interior world. That's beautiful. So a hooray for that decision, and a smile to yourself for that decision to be here. And noticing the shape of the body first in that posture. Some of you might be sitting on a chair, but some of you perhaps are lying down. So what is this shape like? The shape of the body. And noticing the space that that body is taking up in the room you are. And then allowing your body to make peace with gravity. And I say make peace with gravity because sometimes unconsciously we're just pulling up our shoulders, tensing against gravity. Seeing if it's possible for you just to give the weight of your body to gravity. No, there's no need to make an effort, but just seeing what is it like if I give this weight to this surface. The feet on the floor, heavy, relaxed, soft. The the bottom on the chair. The shoulders and the arms falling, and the hands perhaps being held in the lap or in the bed if you're lying down. And the head perfectly balanced. It is very heavy, the head. It is perfectly held by the spine, the neck. In honoring this posture you have taken for this practice. And now with curiosity, noticing how is the breath? Without judging the breath, oh too shallow, oh too fast, it's agitated. Without judging, just allowing the breath to come and go as it is. What is it like to allow the breath just to be? Wherever you can feel it more vividly in the body, noticing that movement. Noticing the sensations and the movements of the breath in the body. Noticing how the breath is connecting us to the world. We're breathing in something that comes from the air outside. And it melts with us, and then it goes outside again. So we are depending on it, connected. And it's a beautiful relationship between us and the world, that we just become one thanks to the breathing process. And this could be an amazing thing to explore. And if the mind wanders off, which it surely will do, that's fine. We could even smile when we notice that the mind is wandering, because we're very awake, we're very aware. And then we remember that we have choice and we can come back to that miracle of breathing. Once and again and again and again. There's no way to do this wrong. There's no outcome of meditation. We're just being aware of this behavior of the mind. And we're just bringing it back to the breath. Resting in gravity, being held and being breathed. There's literally nothing to do, nothing to attain. and no other place to go. Just being here. And now if we want to explore with sensations, noticing any sensation that might be perhaps pleasant to start with, or neutral sensation. Maybe you can feel some tingly toes, and that's pleasant. Or the hands are soft. So seeing if you can bring your attention to any sensation that is pleasant or neutral for you at this moment. And with this great curiosity, getting closer to this sensation. It could be a mixture of sensations, perhaps. The tingly toes are wet or dry. What it's like to inhabit that part of the body. And instead of thinking of the sensation, experiencing the sensation, all sensations. And perhaps some intense sensations may come in the awareness, the field of awareness, and it's fine. You can allow them to be there with this attitude of kindness, love, acceptance, as best you can, without striving, just as best you can, bring in some love to these intense, painful sensations. And seeing if you can come back to that pleasant sensation or neutral sensation you want to explore with, as best you can. Inclining the mind to explore the nuances of these sensations, how they change from moment to moment. Perhaps these sensations are moving in the body. And perhaps what it felt like tingling now is feeling cold. Seeing if you can go deeper in this pleasant or neutral sensation, like pacing it, going deeper to see what it's like to be there. And enjoying and savoring the fact that you're actually noticing things that perhaps with the busyness of the day and the weekend you didn't see. And now the invitation is, as best you can, bringing the breath to that part of the body. For some people, breathing in this area could be imagining how the breath goes in the body and reaches out this part of the body, the sensation you're exploring. Bringing oxygen, energy to that part of the body. For some people, it's helpful to imagine that the breath is coming in and out from that part of the body, through the skin. Whatever works for you is fine. Just allowing the breath to visit, to soften this part of the body. Noticing the effects that this is having in your own practice when you bring the breath to those sensations. How does it feel? Breathing in that part of the body, and breathing out in that part of the body. And now opening the field of awareness to include the whole body. Experiencing the body completely as a whole. And noticing how the breath is breathing the whole body. Every cell is being bathed by the breath. Every cell getting some oxygen, some energy. The breath is not choosing some parts of the body, saying, no, I'm not breathing in that cell. No, that's not possible. It's so generous, it goes everywhere, including every part. And now resting in this miracle of being breathed and cradled and cared for, without doing anything with the mind. Just being. And I'm going to read a very short poem from David Whyte that says, enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here. This opening to the life we have refused again and again until now. Until now. And very slowly, as we bring this meditation to a close, to an end, just allowing some movements to come to your body. And if your eyes were closed, softly opening your eyes. Perhaps stretching legs and arms if you were lying down. Thank you. So I'm going to stop recording now, and we can have a chat and we're happy to stay a little bit longer because I've just realized it's nearly 30 minutes past.